So what are the features of OAM? That are, it provides authentication, it manages sessions and SSO for web tiers, okay, assert identities to the application tier. So what does this mean by assert identities? So you are already saying that a user is authenticated, okay, but application also needs to know that if that user is the same which is authenticated. So there is something called OAM remote ID user, a variable. So we configure it at the application level. So it will assert the identities based on user information coming from the OHS, or I would say WebGate. A WebGate has intercepted the request, and then it goes to OAM for the authentication. Once authentication has happened, it will assert that identity, that user information which it has got, to the application tier. And finally, there is something called authorization. And for OAM, the authorization is like time-based, IP-based, or the user-based. So authorization is like you can say this particular user should not be able to access the resource from this time to this time. This particular user, if this particular user is coming from certain IP range, he should not be able to access the resource. So these kind of authorization requests we can put in. So these are the features and benefits of OAM, which are like comprehensive web access management, web single sign-on, identity propagation and federation. It provides central policy-based authentication and single sign-on web application, web services, data cloud services. So I know it is more of a like repeated thing, because I'm saying OAM is all about single sign-on, and two things, OAM server and WebGate. So every time you are going to see the same terms again and again. Okay. So it is like deliver seamless single sign-on to enterprise resources from any device, including desktop, laptop, and mobile devices. Enables onboarding of partners and service providers faster using industry security standards. Provides standard-based secure propagation of identity across applications and web tiers. So this is like identity assertion, which is it is going to do. Seamless single sign-on is because it has a common policy model which holds the policies together, and we configure it in such a way that all policies are stored at one place, which are linked with the schemes and the modules, authentication schemes and authentication modules. Mobile and social single sign-on. This is a new thing which is in 11G R2, where you can actually use Facebook or LinkedIn as your identity provider, and you can validate your user from there, and it can be accessed. Basically, it can be a backend identity provider, and your OAM acts as a service provider. So when we discuss about federation, I'll tell you on this. And it delivers seamless single sign-on across native and web application on mobile devices, enable low-value enterprise and consumer-facing applications to consume identities from social network and other third-party identity provider using popular user-centric identity standards. So it is a little interesting thing. We'll discuss about it. So your Facebook acts as an identity provider, and there is something called service provider which OAM acts. Your user, when your user is trying to access certain application, it will be redirected to your identity provider for getting the identities, for validating that this user is authenticated user or not, and then it will come to the OAM, which is a service provider, for authorization. So here the federation happens. So real-time external authorization, which is this is thing of OAM, Oracle Adaptive Access Manager. It provides real-time external authorization for applications, middleware, and database with enterprise class scalability and granular security. When I told you about OAM, like Facebook thing, that how it does IP-based, time-based, location-based. So it's a fraud detection on the real time thing which happens in OAM. Delivers out-of-the-box integration with a variety of native custom and third-party applications. Application server, data persistence framework, directory servers, portals and content management system and XML gateways. So here it is talking of all this OIM as well, where it has third-party application connectors, where you can use to provision the users on other systems. So this is all about OAM, which we have discussed. Adaptive access and fraud detection enables you to add sophisticated security to basic authentication flows in a few easy steps. So I hope you have an overall idea of what is Oracle Adaptive Access Manager.